Hey guys, this is Gerald again from Driver Dose, and today we've got our hands on the all-new 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. So let's go check this thing out. Alright, so the Santa Fe is a crossover SUV that seats 5, but if you want 7 with a third row seat, that is also possible with the XL version. Now in terms of the Santa Fe, there's actually 4 trims you can choose from. The Essential, the Preferred, the Luxury trim that we have here, which comes preloaded with more features that you can ask for, and also the Ultimate. Now the biggest difference is really the engine size. With the preferred model, you're stuck with the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. Anything higher, you get a more powerful engine with a 2.0 liter turbocharged. Now the biggest difference obviously between the two engines is obviously the horsepower. With a base 2.4 liter naturally aspirated engine, you get just 185 horsepower. But with a 2.0 liter turbocharged engine, you get 235 horsepower, which is significantly more. Now regardless of engine choice, you'll get an 8-speed automatic gearbox, which is really nice. You'll also have the option to configure the powertrain either in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive for the preferred trim. But any trim higher than that, all-wheel drive is your only option. Now what you'll also notice about the Santa Fe is that it looks absolutely amazing. That is because the same designer for Audi and Bentley is now taking the design lead for the Kia and Hyundai brand. Now what I really like about the Hyundai Santa Fe is how comfortable the rear seats actually are. Okay, no, I don't get an infinite amount of legroom as you can tell, but because I can lean the back seats forward or backwards, it really adds to a much more comfortable ride. Now in the absence of a 5th passenger, you can also use the spare seat as an available armrest with 2 cup holders in the middle. There's also a sunscreen here if you want to block off some of the sun. Alright guys, so this is a 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. This is the luxury model, so it's also going to come preloaded with a lot of extra and luxurious features that we'll go over in a bit. So first thing first, this is keyless entry. Instead of a capacitive button that usually comes preloaded with more higher-end luxury cars, this one in particular just comes with a more simpler push-button approach to lock and unlock, which is really nice. I mean, generally speaking, you don't need to overcomplicate things, and when things are simpler, it generally results to something a bit cheaper on the price tag, which is actually nice. So the interior, first thing first, the quality is absolutely amazing, and that is something that I've always appreciated about the Hyundai brand, in the sense that you really get a really good bang for your buck. And the quality in here, I'm not going to lie, even almost rivals some of the more higher-end luxury brands. Just look at the amount of quality and plush leather seating on these perforated leather seats. And speaking of seats, down here there's actually a 12-way power adjustable driver's seat. And particularly, I really like this feature up here. I don't know exactly what they call it, but it offers more support for your lower part of your legs, which really adds a lot of comfort. Usually that was a feature found in more luxury vehicles, but that is no longer the case with the Hyundai Santa Fe. So first thing first, as I said, there is a lot of luxury detailing and styling in this vehicle, which I personally really like. There's also the infotainment screen, which I'll just power up, which is very simple, but very elegant, very clean, very tidy. Again, that really adds to the really good overall experience. Up here, you also have an 8-inch infotainment screen. That's also been upgraded from the standard 7-inch infotainment screen. Now, this infotainment system also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so if I want to hook up my mobile phone and use that directly on the touchscreen, this is a touchscreen by the way, then that is also possible. The luxury trim that we have here also comes preloaded with a 12 speaker Infinity audio system, which is really nice. Now down here you have your standard heated vents, and there's also a pocket here on the passenger side, which I actually found pretty useful. I actually put a lot of my belongings there, as you can tell. And down here you have your dual climate control system. So essentially I can control the temperature on either the passenger or the driver's side independently through setting the temperature with these two knobs here. You've also got heated, but as well as ventilated front seats, as well as a heated steering wheel, which is really something that's also really nice. Down here you've got, sorry, it's getting a little bit dark here, you've got a 12-volt system that can power up to 180 watts. So that also means that if you get a 12-volt to 120-volt inverter, you can actually power your laptop or other electronics through this power outlet, provided that it consumes less than 180 watts. You've also got a USB and an auxiliary cord if you want to plug in your mobile phone or an audio source. And you've also got wireless charging, which I don't know if you can see here. It's getting a little bit dark, which is a little bit hard to see, but it is possible in this particular trim to charge your mobile phone wirelessly if you wanted to. Down here you have two cup holders. One of them is reserved for my phone, as you can tell, and a standard shifter, as well as your drive mode selection here. So in terms of the drive mode, you can actually configure the vehicle, I think it's either standard, comfort, or performance mode, or sport mode. Now in sport mode, because this vehicle is all-wheel drive, what sport mode will actually direct more power into the rear wheels to give you more acceleration, more power on demand. Whereas if you're in standard or comfort mode, it'll try to balance out the power distribution more forward biased to give you a better fuel economy. You can also turn off automatic engine start stop. So if you're at a red light, the vehicle will actually shut off the engine to A, quiet down the cabin space, and B, save a bit of fuel economy. There's also hill grade assist. So if you want essentially the brakes to help you out while you're cruising downhill, then that's also useful. Auto hold assist, so if you're on a hill, and it'll offer you the convenience for actually automatically applying the brakes for you so your vehicle doesn't roll back. You also have an electronic handbrake, as well as a camera view system and park assist. So down here I can configure the active safety system for enabling or disabling lane departure, as well as blind spot monitoring detection. I can also lock the front and rear wheel axles, as well as turn on or off traction control. And also this button, I can electronically lift the power lift gate straight from this button here, which is really convenient. Now, one of the key features to the all-new 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe is the superstructure. Essentially, the chassis is now built out of high-strength steel, making the overall vehicle lighter as well as more rigid. That also means the Hyundai Santa Fe can handle better while saving on fuel economy. Alright, so let's take the Hyundai Santa Fe out for a test drive to see what it's like. So as soon as I start the vehicle, you notice that the seats actually move forward, while when I shut off the vehicle, the seats actually move back, giving me more room to get in and out of the vehicle. Now, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, 4-cylinder engines weren't actually that great. I mean, yes, it offered plenty of power, and that is because they put in a turbocharger. Now, the problem with a turbocharger is inherently the turbo lag, and just again, 3 or 4 years ago, that was a major issue, meaning there was just a lot of turbo lag, often having to wait for power to kick in when you press on the accelerator pedal. But over time, manufacturers were able to tune and refine the overall system, and especially with the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe, the power is much more linear overall and giving a much more responsive driving experience. Now, there's also a heads-up display up on the windshield that actually shows me the speed. I can also adjust it in kilometers or miles per hour depending on where I'm driving in North America or in the United States, or in Canada, sorry, or imperial or metric. And what you'll also notice is that the vehicle is actually really comfortable to drive. I mean, there is very little noise leaking into the cabin space, and the suspensions are doing a really good job in absorbing all the bumps. As a matter of fact, it's actually really tuned well for, more comfortable driving experience. Now, the luxury model we have here is all-wheel drive, which works pretty well. I mean, I did hope that at least the higher-end trims offered a front-wheel drive configuration, but that is actually not the case, unfortunately. The front-wheel drive is only offered with the lowest preferred model. I mean, to make my point, not always the case do you need all-wheel drive. Say, for example, you're living in California or somewhere hot. You don't exactly need all-wheel drive traction all the time. But living here in North America where it's 4 seasons, then yes, in rainier or icier or colder conditions with icier roads, then all-wheel drive system certainly comes into play. The question is often asked is, well, is a 4-cylinder enough? And in my opinion, yes. I mean, yes, I do have 224 horsepower, and the standard 2.4 liter non-turbo engine has 186, which might be a little bit less than ideal. But generally speaking, I would say about 200 horsepower is more than enough for a 5-passenger crossover SUV like the Santa Fe. And with an additional 28, gives enough. And with 228, that gives plenty enough. Now, in comfort mode, that will also relax the steering and the throttle response, giving a more overall relaxed driving experience. And what I also really like about are these seats. I mean, they're just so comfortable, plenty of space. There's so much cushioning, especially with the heavy cushioning in the headrests, which really makes an overall very comfortable drive. Alright, so let's try put it in sport mode to see how much power we can actually push out of this thing. Not too bad. I mean, power does saturate about 80 to 85 kilometers an hour. I mean, to be fair, yes, it is a 4-cylinder engine and it is not tuned to, deliver that head snapping effect. But overall, it's good enough, and it's very smooth as well, especially with the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, unfortunately, there is also no paddle shifters involved or mounted on the steering wheel, but I can also activate sequential shift mode through the gear lever. So if I push up, it'll shift up gears, or if I push down, it'll shift down a gear. And overall, like I said, the cabin space is very quiet, very comfortable, very subtle, very tranquil, which is something that a lot of people actually take for granted, and they might actually not even notice because limited number of vehicles that they actually get to drive. And to be honest, it's really hard for me to come up with something to complain about, to be honest. I really don't know what there is to complain about. I mean, it's a car, it's comfortable, it's easy to drive, it does what I want, it's 5-seater, there's plenty of cargo space, and it's semi-affordable. So really, what more could you really ask for? Now, what I also find special about the Hyundai brand in itself is they're so good at keeping things simple while focusing on things that matter most. For example, especially the interior, which I really like. I mean, while it is a lower end car, it's not exactly luxury, but you actually get the quality similar to those in a higher end luxury tier, or essentially getting a really good bang for your buck. Alright, so I'm going to talk about what I really like about this car and what I don't like about this car. What I really like about the Hyundai Santa Fe is especially the interior. I mean, the quality that you get at this price point is absolutely unmatched. I mean, it even rivals some of the more higher end luxury brands like I was talking about. And I really like this overall sculpturing and the overall flow of contours. Everything just looks very clean, very natural, very tidy. And Hyundai doesn't really try to do anything fancy or do any gimmickry to impress you. Rather, it impresses you on things that matter most. And number two, what I really like about the Santa Fe are actually the rear seats and how comfortable they are. I mean, normally no one ever likes to sit in the back, but because there's so much cushioning in both the front and the rear row seats, and because it can actually recline, despite the fact that you don't have a lot of leg room, actually makes the Hyundai Santa Fe really unique. And number three, what I really like about the Hyundai Santa Fe is how well it drives. I mean, the 8-speed automatic gearbox is so smooth, as well as the power delivery from the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine. Okay, so what I don't like about the Hyundai Santa Fe, and it did take me a while to come up with something, was actually the shades of the interior. I mean, the cream color on the interior, as well as this cloth-like pepper shade, is a bit off. I mean, I don't know. The color shade almost looks almost like a dated mannequin from an Eaton store, and the color shade does make the interior look a little bit more dated than what I would have liked. And number two, while front wheel drive is unfortunately only available in the lowest preferred model, and not always do you really need all-wheel drive. Like I was mentioning, in hotter areas or hotter climates, you might not need all that traction all the time. So in that case, I would have wished that Hyundai offered the front wheel drive configuration for higher trims to kind of lower down the cost while retaining the luxury features like in the upper trims. Now, the fuel economy is an averaged on our trip 12.1 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually not bad. It could be better, but maybe in later generations, better tuning with the 2.0 liter turbocharged engine could improve that. Well, that's my review on the all-new 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. I certainly enjoyed it, but let me know what you guys think. Until next time.